Before we get into today's story, I wanted to take a minute to talk about chilling. Chilling has been making waves in the horror community as the home of horror. Chilling has over 800 creepypastas, scary stories, true crime, and it's all ad-free. New content is constantly being added along with new narrators reading your favorite spooky stories. Chilling also allows you to darken or minimize your screen to listen to content on the go without draining your battery. To get started with Chilling, give their free trial a try to test things out, and if you like it, it's only $2.99 a month after that. We are also coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Chilling, and to thank everyone for their support, Chilling is running a 1-year anniversary giveaway. The grand prize winner will be receiving a Samsung 70-inch smart TV, a Samsung soundbar, and a limited edition Chilling 1-year anniversary t-shirt. 2 first-place runners-up will receive a $100 gift card to Amazon and a limited edition t-shirt as well. And then 5 second-place runners-up will receive a $25 Amazon gift card and a limited edition t-shirt as well. All the winners will be announced on May 2nd, and all the details to enter the giveaway and check out Chilling will be linked below in the description. Thanks again to Chilling for being the home of horror. Well, I can't sleep, so I might as well tell you what happened, in case you like hearing about messed up stuff. A few months back, a buddy of mine closed on a big house right on the outskirts of town. A multi-million-dollar affair, custom built back in the 80s. We had TP'd it for Halloween one year, back when we were both kids from broke families. Now my friend is rich and buying it as a second home. I do carpentry, so he called me up to have a look around before he pulled the trigger. I walked around, inside and out, and told him everything seemed to be in ship-shape condition. Not even a hint of mold or rot, and the guts were all nicely oiled too. The old guy who had lived and croaked there had kept up with every little detail. "What about that one room?" asked Evan. I knew what he was talking about with any further elaboration. There were 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, not counting a finished basement. A kitchen, living room, a study, laundry room, a bunch of closets, and etc. Everything you would expect to find in a house like that. All with the highest levels of finishes. And then, there was that one weird room. It was down at the end of the hallway on the 2nd floor. It seemed like maybe it was intended to be another bedroom. But once you went in there, you saw that it was tiled in white from floor to wall to ceiling. So then maybe you thought it was supposed to be like a spa room or something like that. But there were no fixtures, or any places for fixtures. There was a single electrical outlet, and a single small hole in one of the wall tiles. Well, I don't know what the heck that's about, I admitted. Never saw anything quite like it. Yeah, it's bizarre. The guy's daughter said there was just this machine in here, with a tube going into the wall. They got rid of it before they listed the house. I wonder what it was all about. I shrugged. I can hardly keep up with stuff these days. They've got refrigerators that you can watch TV on now. Next, they'll have robots that sit submerged in your toilet, and then pop up and wipe your butt when you're done pooping. So who knows? Anyway, putting aside that crazy room, the place looks great. Literally nothing needs to be done, unless you want new paint, cabinets, and so forth. But honestly, everything looks very tastefully done. It's a real turnkey house if you ask me. Yeah, I agree. But that room just, I don't know. I'd want to do something with it. So put that on your radar, because I think I'm gonna pull the trigger on this and start brainstorming on what we can do with it. The answer that we came up with was to knock down a wall and open up one of these smaller bedrooms into a second master bedroom, adding a few windows along the way, since the room had faced the south. Working alone, I figured that the project would take me a couple of months, and I liked those kind of projects, where I could settle in and not have to constantly go from job to job, packing up my tools every day, and getting reacquainted with a whole new site with a whole new set of headaches. But still, my enthusiasm died the first day on the job. There was just something so creepy about that room, with all those clean white tiles covering every square inch. It felt like something that you would see in an insane asylum instead of a house where people lived at. My first order of business was to get rid of those tiles. It took a couple of days to peel them off and haul them outside, and then the room started to feel more like a construction site than an unfathomable mystery. I had something that I could work with. Breaking through the wall to the adjoining bedroom would happen near the end of the project, so we could keep dust from spreading around the house as long as possible. Well before that, I had to tear off all the old drywall, which wasn't worth salvaging through after stripping the tiles, and to take it down to the framing, and then cut new openings for the windows and to get those installed. I'll never forget the day that I started tearing off the drywall. For as long as I live, and no matter how drunk I get. I started with the exterior wall, where the windows would be going. Getting started was always fun. You just take your hammer and smash it wildly into the wall, and then you start yanking. So that's what I did, pulling off chunks of sheetrock and tossing them onto the tarp in the middle of the room. I saw right away that the house was well insulated, spray foam. That would make it a bit of a hassle adding outlets and whatnot, but it would save my buddy a heck of a lot in heating and cooling bills. Not that he was in rough shape financially. I guess I just got satisfaction from seeing a tight, well-built house. It was right around the middle of that exterior wall behind the drywall where I found the first indication of that room's previous purpose. There was a small tube there pressed against the insulation, running up towards the ceiling. It was a clear tube, but stained dark inside. What the heck was that? I wondered. I had never encountered anything quite like it. It looked like maybe somebody had been running motor oil through it, or something like that. I didn't really know. I figured the best way to get answers was to keep tearing the room apart. Soon, I found a second tube. This one didn't have the brown coloring, but it did have a few droplets of clear liquid beaded up along its length. I knew without a doubt that I was going to find something terrible. I don't know how to explain it, other than pure animal instinct, but I had to know what it was. I ripped off another chunk of the wall. There, less than a foot away from my face, were 10 human toes, complete with long, gnarly yellow toenails. They were half buried in the insulation, sort of just poking out. I backed up and probably said something like, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. Without realizing that I had reached for it, I had my phone in my hand. Called the police. But then I hesitated. For some unspeakably stupid reason, I hesitated. I guess it was as simple as morbid curiosity. If I didn't peel back that wall myself, then I might never know what was really back there. It was a human body, obviously. But whose, and what were those tubes? If I handed it over to the cops, I would be shut out of there while they did their work. They would take off the rest of the wall. Maybe they wouldn't tell the public what was back there for months or years or ever, but I had to know. For whatever reason or non-reason, I just had to know. I wiggled another section of drywall loose gently now, trying to take as big a piece as I could intact. I got about half a sheet loose, 4x4. Now I knew a lot more, or maybe a lot less. I took off my respirator and I puked. It was a woman. I could figure that much. She was naked, and I saw now where the tubes had led. The stained one into her stomach, and the other one into her, I don't want to say. Jesus Christ, what the heck is this? I had my phone in my hand again, but then I dropped it because I was shaking so bad. The tubes. There were beads of water still in one of them, which means that she's alive, or was recently. I forgot the phone and frantically tore away the rest of the wall. It came apart in a mess of dust and small chunks because I was in a frenzy. Finally, I made it up to her head. She had another tube stuck in her mouth, leading up towards the roof. Her flesh was sagging off of her face, like it was sagging everywhere else, as if in a slow and desperate attempt to escape the world. Her eyes were wide opened and milky white. She's dead, I thought. And then she blinked. And that, friends, is when I called the police and they took over. If you're wondering who the heck that woman was and why she was in the wall, well, join the club. I'll tell you the rest of what I know, or at least what I think, for whatever good that'll do. First, the nitty-gritty. I think that poor woman was kept behind that wall for a very long time. The tubes to carry her waste away probably ran down and joined the main sewer line. The tube leading outside. I figured this out by having a look around the house while the police were busy inside, hooked up to the gutter system. So she drank water when it rained. My best guess is that she was fed through that machine that the previous owner's daughter had removed. It must have ground up food and shot it through the tube, going from the room into the wall, or something like that. I haven't spoken with the daughter, and I don't intend to, but she almost certainly didn't know what the heck it was that she had removed from the house. And if I'm right, that means the woman in the wall, she hadn't had any food in months, unless by some chance an ant had crawled down her throat. As for the man who had owned the house before my friend had bought it, he was just some guy, a well-off guy. A guy who owned several businesses around town, and was always a part of this and that event, and the Chamber of Commerce and all that stuff. Outwardly, a very respectable citizen, but inwardly, an absolute demon. Assuming that he was the one who put the woman in the wall, I don't even know that part of it. If he did, then he would have had to hook up all that stuff himself. He would have had to at least put the drywall up, if not the tile. Plus, the woman was half encased in spray foam insulation, which isn't usually a DIY project. But I suppose if you're going to be evil and crazy enough to do something like that in the first place, a few days worth of manual labor is the price that you have to pay. even if you're rich. Anyway, he had to at least know about it, since, again, I'm assuming I'm right about the machine. Somebody had to keep feeding that woman, and it was his house. I don't know. I've been drinking and my mind is starting to creep down all of these different alleyways. Starting to, heck, I haven't stopped. It was a week ago that I found the woman, and I guess that I must have slept at some point since then. I just don't really remember it. And now you have it too. I guess the only thing to say at this point is, if you're able to wake up each morning and not find yourself literally trapped inside of a wall with tubes coming in and out of you, then you better consider yourself lucky. That's the thing I'm telling myself anyway. Thanks for listening.